Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. Welcome everybody out there in the On the Chain world. Excited to have two amazing guests with us today. Today we are going to be diving into the future of decentralized finance on the XRPL with two visionaries behind the Anodos project. We've got Panos Mekras, a longtime XRPL advocate, author, CEO, and co-founder of Anodos. And joining him is co-founder Peter Candelas, sales, marketing pro, visionary, crypto investor, crypto disruptor, and strategic partner and driving force behind the project's execution and expansion, along with Panos. And we're excited to get this rolling, Chip. So
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll this thing, guys. Ready? Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
All right, Jeff. So why don't we bring him in? Ready? 1, 2, 3 from the magic. Let's go. Boom. There we go. There's Panos.
Hello.
Doing Panos.
Oh,
Peter.
shoot.
There you are. All right.
If I got stuck.
So
the X accounts just got disconnected.
So here, we followed Panos for years. Regulatory takes, also squashing a lot of the misrepresentations out there, the crypto insights. So we're now excited to see that vision, coming to life with Peter and the Anodos team. So let's jump right into it, guys. We'll talk right into it. But thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, glad to be back.
It's great to be back. Panos is back. He's a 2-time. When you get to the 5-time, you get the official hoodie. When you appear 5 times on there, it's like the Saturday Night Live. When you get the jacket, we got an official hoodie. If you've been on 5 times, we ship you out a hoodie, and then it has all the on the chain goods.
Chip, just real quick. Sorry, it's just a technical thing. I don't know if on your end you see that StreamYard lost access to your X account.
I did not see that.
See that? Do you have a look up at the right hand corner? Do you have a green check or a red exclamation mark next to your picture?
To be honest with you, I don't see anything up there. Hang on a second. Let me double check here. I do see a green check.
Next to yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what?
My side, it shows that you're disconnected. As soon as we rolled, I tried to reconnect it, but it wasn't working.
Yeah,
so
you know what?
Need to do it on your end.
I did get
You have to go in and authorize.
I'm signing in right now to do that.
Sorry, guys.
I'm on that.
Okay.
Make sure that we're rolling live. And that's why I failed to bring Peter in, because I was trying to get to that before we.
No worries. All right.
It's a regular occurrence for us in tech. There's always something that might just stop or glitch. It's totally
so crazy. It's always something. We're here live, and you just never know what happens. So it's always fun. Everybody in the audience is used to our technical antics. So, and this platform, it's funny. They'll make adjustments to StreamYard. And as you guys know, in the tech space, you can fix one thing or you roll out something and you break something else on, that you don't even realize.
100%.
And apparently this is what we're up against. Chip, while you're doing that, I'll roll with these guys with a, first questions. It would be great kind of to look into and, get some icebreakers just to know, get to know you guys a little bit, other than, what you're doing with Anodos. But, one thing, and we'll start Peter and then we'll go to Panos. What's one thing that people would never guess about you? A passion.
That I make chocolate.
Chocolate. Make chocolate.
There you go.
That is interesting. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate.
I don't touch milk chocolate. I deal with dark and white. And even though I never liked dark chocolate, so very briefly, I was on vacation in Greece. And in Greece, they don't usually have like a dessert menu. Usually you're asked, how do you want to be treated? Like some fruit or some, spirits or whatever handmade dessert was just made. And when the waiter mentioned this dessert, I was like, I've never heard of that. And he kind of looked at me, and we were speaking in Greek the whole time. And he's like, are you Greek? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, everybody grew up with this dessert. And I was like, not me. And, fast forward a couple of years later, I started tinkering with it because I was just curious. I was like, how come nobody's ever tried to innovate this dessert? And I'm not a baker. I mean, put me in front of the grill, ask me to make some sauces, no problem. But I'd never touch anything baking, just not my thing. It's too scientific, too exact. and I tried it, and lo and behold, I got obsessed.
Wow.
I started making all these different versions of it that have never existed before. I've had, professional chocolatiers ask me where I went to chocolatier school. I was like, home. I went home. I'm just insane. I just did a lot of trial and error. And a lot of people were shocked to the point where I had brought it into a store. I actually brought it for a couple of girls that were working at the store because they were talking about how much they like chocolate. I'm like, let me bring you some. And the owner looked me up, and you see my look, I mean, I'm not like the geek looking kind of guy. I'm like a little bit, the rebellious type, right? I don't look like a frou chocolatier guy. So the owner looked at me. He's like, where do you import this from? I'm like, my house.
Make it.
Well, yeah. So that's something a lot of people never expect when I say I do chocolate. They're always shocked.
We definitely didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Panos, how about you?
For me, I would say maybe that I'm an introvert, that I don't really like public speaking. When people see my, let's say, Twitter persona, and how I bash misinformation, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, but actually, in person, I'm much more reserved and calm.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Especially as you get out there in front of groups, and you have to be out in front of the X space. Yep. Chip, how's it going on your end?
Jeff, you wouldn't believe the nightmare that this is. I'm going to just continue to go on. I'm like,
Okay.
every time, like we've been using this software for 5 years, and now in the middle of a broadcast, it's asking me. It's like I'll get to it in a second.
Everybody's pushing over to mine right now, so my X feed is filling up, which is good. So here's another one, and this could be, you're sitting at a cafe in Athens, you with 1 hour and perfect Wi-Fi. What's the app that you're launching or fixing first? What do you do? What's your favorite? But your favorite app?
So first of all, I just gotta say that the Wi-Fi in Greece is
Oh my gosh,
it's horrendous. So I don't think I would be brave enough to even think about downloading any app or trying to fix anything. I think I would just get out my emails. I would send SOSs to friends and family saying, I'm here, I'm alive, everything's good.
I can't talk to you. Panos, what about you? What would you? I mean, let's just put that aside. Let's just assume. I have a feeling I know which one you might launch, but which one would you be launching first? You're in the cafe, having a nice a coffee or something.
Twitter is like always the number one app.
I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, always notification, see what's going on. It's the number one place to be in crypto, to get updated with news. And then, of course, it's Discord, because that's where we talk with our team, our developers, and getting the updates and any issues you might have. So yeah, that's the first two apps.
The first two. So then then the ultimate question is iOS or Android. So we'll go with Panos first.
For me,
I knew it was going to be Android.
Android.
Peter?
There we go.
Peter?
Android, 100%.
Look at you guys.
Look at that.
I'm the only outcast here. I'm the only iOS
One
guy.
of these things just doesn't belong.
I'm a Mac guy. I mean, I transitioned from Windows to PC to Mac last year.
Yeah.
And I love Mac. I love how it works. But when it comes to phones, I mean, I can't stand iPhone. I mean, I just don't really like, or I'm comfortable with the, let's say, user experience and how it works and all the, let's say, limitation it has compared to Android. So I love freedom, innovation. So that's why I go to Android.
People always talk about the limitations. I'm like, well, maybe for guys that code and stuff. I've never come across anything that would be. But yeah, I've been on a Mac forever, man. I've been on PCs, so I think the Mac environment definitely a better environment, I would say. But that's great. So I feel very lonely here today, man. There's usually somebody that comes across. I knew Panos would be, but Peter, look at that, man. Look at that. I'm outnumbered. So Panos, if you had to describe Anodos in one word, let's say to your grandparents, and they're like, geez, Panos, what do you do? How would you describe it to someone one of your grandparents, a family member? They're like, what do you do exactly? You have your own thing, but how would you explain it to them in a way that they could really understand what Anodos is?
So I would say that we're building financial apps. So in simple words, we want to change how people spend, grow, and manage their money. So I mean, to explain it, let's say to the average person, is by saying, you know how banks work. Basically, they control your money. They can restrict you, put all those limitations to you wherever you want. So we want to change that and allow you to have full control, be your own bank, and just do whatever you want with your money.
So does that sound appealing when you're talking to people that maybe don't know the space as well? I mean, when you explain that to them, because I can imagine somebody saying, okay, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. Like, how do I get started? How do I get involved? And even people right now that are watching live or maybe watching on the rewatch or listening to the podcast, what would be the first place you would tell them to sort of get started? Because it can be a big, scary world because people buy into the concept, but they go like, okay, what do I do? And how can it help me in my life? Like what would be the unique, some of the things that I would myself personally be interested in?
You know what the problem is, that we are not there yet, but our end goal is to basically build, let's say, these killer apps that the users and the people don't even have to realize that it's blockchain, or all these complexities we know about the crypto space in the background. So we want to hide all this. So how you use, let's say, any other app in your phone, or how you use, let's say, your online banking app, and you spend money, you just sign up. So we want to hide all these things. So in the end, I don't think we will even have to explain them. You just download the app and you're ready to go. We are not there yet. So for now, we are. Let's say we have our docs, we have our documentation, we have an education section where we explain, and we start from what is money to how the banking system works, what is blockchain, and we go step by step so they can really understand what's all this thing is about, and they can start interacting with the technology. But yeah, at the end of the day, we want to reach the point where we don't even have to explain all these things. Peter, you
Nice.
have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that sometimes people get lost in trying to understand all the technology. And look, I'll be very honest. I don't know how the dual processor works on my phone. I do know that if I want to make a video call, I can press the button and it'll work. So I don't really need to know. And ultimately, I think what's the most important thing that's very much overlooked in blockchain in general, and I've had this discussion many, many times, it's not just a matter about being the best tech. It's a matter about being the most user friendly. When you look at, for example, operating systems, we were just talking about Apple and iOS and all that sort of thing. That's great. However, I think we could all agree that Linux is the best operating system there is for many, many reasons, and yet it's not mass adopted. Most people don't know about Linux. Most people don't know how to use it. And the brilliance of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates to some extent, is they had the foresight, right, to give out an operating system that was ready to use out of the box. And I think that's what's massively lacking in crypto. And Panos and I have a massive passion for making real world solutions for the everyday individual, the small business owner, the medium-sized business owner. It's great what all the projects are doing out there with infrastructure, but you could build all the infrastructure that you want. At the end of the day, when you walk into a brand new building, you want to be able to flip a light switch. You want to be able to press the button to get into the elevator. These are the types of solutions we're focusing on, if that makes a little bit more sense.
Well, yeah, people get in a car, they don't need to know how the car works. They don't need to know what's going on with the engine. It's combustible. If it's a battery, if it's a Tesla, they jump in, they power it. They know it's either got juice or it doesn't have juice. So this is a great point you're bringing up, and something that Jeff and I have struggled with as well. He said, like, well, how do I get in? Well, you buy XRP. What do I do? You go to an exchange. Then what do you do? Then you click on this and you do this and you do it. And they're like, okay, hang on, slow down, right? So it becomes almost too complicated for like a regular user. Yeah. And that's something you guys have spent a lot of time on, especially with the UI. That's one of the things I've noticed. You guys, from when you started to where you are now, you've constantly been involved in the UI, that now it feels very user-friendly, but also too, sometimes you don't have to go like, what do I do next? You just know where to go. So I think that's a big part of it. So yeah, very well said, Peter.
Thank you. It's actually the whole purpose why Panos and I became partners. I mean, we were having a lot of conversations, and it was constantly a back and forth of, yeah, but all you have to do is this. Yeah, but I'm not going to do this, And then it's like, yeah, but there's this, that, and the other. Yeah, but like I've owned 2 web design companies. I sold them both. It was a good exit on both of them. I don't know how to write a line of code. Okay. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. What I know how to do is I know how to connect the dots between people. I know how to understand what your problem is. I know how to have the conversation with the developer. I understand enough of the technology and all the lingo of how to get my message across. And what I said was, I need to be able to solve a problem because all my clients were in the United States. They're primarily attorneys, doctors, more white collar professionals. And what I brought to the table for them was, I know that you could make your own website, but we also both know that you're not going to sit there and try and figure out how to jimmy the picture into the right spot and how to do it. You're not going to waste your time with all that stuff. That's your first option. Your second option is hire a web designer who's going to charge you, 5 figures. And you don't want to spend that money because you don't want to go back and forth with this tech person you don't understand. So here enters Peter. I'm going to be the liaison. I'm going to say, what is it you do? Okay, great. You do patent law? Great. What kind of colors do you like? Show me a couple websites you like. I'll get back to you with a sample, okay? And then show him a sample, and I was like, yes, I like this. Okay, great. Just give me the content, and I'll put it on for you. And I solved the problem for them, and I put them on a subscription based. They didn't have to put a whole lot of money out of pocket. They knew they could call me on my cell. They're not going to get some customer service experience. They could call me on the weekend. They could text me. I'm readily available for them, right? So this was a massive, massive solution at the time in a Web 2 environment. So I was constantly looking at everything in Web 3 the same way. I was like, who's going to do, like you said, Chip? I mean, who's going to sit there and figure out how to do a wallet? Then they're going to be scared that, let's say, they sent the money to the wrong place. Well, there's no ACH
That
reverse.
happens.
That's right.
Right? So what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? You're totally shaking in your boots. So you're sending like 1 XRP at a time to see where, okay, it worked. Okay, now let me send more. Oh, it's lagging a little bit because my internet's down. What's going? All this panic.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are the conversations Panos and I had. I admired, and I say it all the time, I admired very much the way his approach was no nonsense. It was straight to the point. And then we developed a lot of different conversations throughout the time we've been partners. And ultimately that's what we're looking to do is we're trying to eliminate all the nonsense. We're trying to simplify everything. We're trying to have functional solutions that don't require, getting a degree. Like you should be able to just go in and use the technology and that's
Yeah, and what we'll do is we'll get to a demo, but the no-nonsense approach, you talked about Panos, and this is why people sometimes get frustrated, because if you correct them and you bring the extra, I've seen Panos really take somebody's comment and turn them around, and then the next thing they do is block them because they can't engage in a conversation because they're talking about stuff that, maybe an influence out there stands. I mean, there's so much misinformation out there, right? So and this is what I connected with Panos right away is that I see this, the way that the approach to how you talk to people and make it about the facts. Hey, this is what it does. This is what it is. This is what the XRPL was created for. And so taking that into Anodos and realizing that the same way there was this hole void that needed to be filled. And that's why, we want to help spread the message because we believe really heavily in what you guys are doing. And building something DeFi, especially for the masses. And so I guess it comes down to the masses. And I don't know, at some point we'll get into a little bit of a demo so people can kind of see exactly what that looks like. But I mean, for people to get involved, where would you say the best way to start is for people out there? Panos.
You mean for XRPL or,
Well, I'm just saying, no, for Anodos, right? So people that are new to Anodos or maybe have kind of cursory heard of it, right? They've maybe seen some, maybe they follow, the X account and kind of know you guys a little bit. But where would it be? Let's talk about how people can get started. Where some of the benefits are and some of the areas that that they would look to because they're watching this interview right now. Like, hey, how does it work? Where do I get started?
So yeah, the main idea when we started Anodos, it was the period where the AMM was announced that there's an AMM coming on XRPL, and you said that's a great idea to start with that, and because the DEX is the core feature of the XRPL. I mean, it's the main functionality. It's basically the reason it was created for tokenization, like exchanging value. The DEX is the most important thing on the whole ecosystem. So bringing an AMM into it was like a big upgrade, and at that point, there were like 2-3 interfaces and platforms that provided, let's say, access to the DEX. But from the feedback we got from the most of the community, the UI and UX was terrible. It was very confusing for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And even today, I did a poll like 2 weeks ago, and half of the community has never even used the DEX yet, which is crazy to think about. A DEX that exists for 13 years, and half of the people have never used it. And understand the problems, the issues. terrible UI, UX, and let's say the non-user friendly platforms is one thing. But then it's also, about there are some problems, not enough liquidity, not enough, let's say, quality assets. I can understand all the points. Uh, so yeah, we must work, let's say, together as project, as an ecosystem, to bring that activity and what the ecosystem needs. But yeah, we started with that. So we wanted to build a user-friendly platform for the AMM, and people could interact with this feature. So yeah, the way to go is, you go to our platform, Anodex, and you can already connect one of the existing wallets. You have like Zaman, Crossmark, Gem, all the native XRP wallets. But the problem is it's still not addressed to the average person. It's something we are working on right now with V2. And the idea is, again, to hide all these complexities for the user. And what we are trying to build is through a set of integrations, like passkeys, for example, which, if you know about passkeys, they are everywhere right now in the
Mm.
whole big tech. Everyone uses it. Apple, Microsoft, Google.
Mhm.
Everyone uses passkeys now. It's a very secure and very user-friendly way to sign up and sign in the platforms with your biometrics. And we are the first to bring that on XRPL. So we are working on a solution so that any user, you can bring anyone who has no idea about XRPL or blockchain, and in few seconds they just sign up with their biometrics and they create an XRPL account, just like that. No private key management, no words or seed phrases. Everything is used secured by, let's say, the passkeys and the MPC technology. So they just sign up in seconds, and then they are good to go and to interact with the XRPL. So this is the first step to simplifying onboarding. And then it's we are the first platform on XRPL that has both on ramp and off ramp integrated. So you don't even have to go to other platforms or exchanges and having to sign up to multiple platforms just to get one token and then send it to your wallet. You just go to our platform, and we have created this one-stop shop where we just can sign up on ramp with your wallet, trade, interact with the AMM, provide liquidity, and then off ramp to your bank account or other options we have. So yeah, the reason you can just do everything you want on XRPL,
Mhm.
we provide this one-stop shop. So that's what we're working on right now.
That's really, yeah, and that the one thing that really resonates, and Chip had brought this up before, but the complexity that is faced in this space is that most users, from a mainstream perspective, it's way, just getting in, it's confusing, right? And everyone's scared to dive in. So first it was kind of those that were comfortable in and around tech, and then you still have the conversations with people to get involved. And it's good to see the direction that you guys are going in. Nice UI, um, not having to have a complex understanding of the back end of it. What would you say that your primary market is? Would you say it's retail, or are you going after business?
So basically, Anodex, which gives you access to the DEX and the AMM, is probably the only, let's say, crypto native product we will ever build, because we wanted to start and introduce ourselves and build this user friendly platform for the XRP community. But after that, we are going after the masses, so the average person in business. And I don't know if you have seen about AnoPay. I made like a couple of
Mhm.
posts.
Yep.
It's like the killer app we think that the ecosystem needs, and not just the XRPL but the whole industry. You can imagine, like if you have used like Revolut, Venmo, any, let's say, online banking or payment app. We want to bring that solution on chain, powered by XRPL and stablecoins, and with all these complexities completely abstracted, so the user will not even know that there is blockchain, XRP or tokens used to the background. They will just see, let's say, US dollars, but it's using, let's say, RUSD. Why the user should know that there is a token being used for, it can be faster, cheaper, utilizing the XRPL tech, but the user doesn't even need to know it. So yeah, the target next is to to target the average person and small businesses, where we think we can benefit more from that technology. Ripple is going after the institutions and the big players.
Yep.
And I have said this comparison that Ripple is for institutions what Anodos is for consumers. So yeah, we're going after the consumers, the small players. And yeah, I mean, we have Anodex, the only crypto native product, and then it's for mass consumers.
Yeah, and we've been talking about the XRPL utilizing the technology. When you were getting into it and trying to make a determination, hey, which platform is going to be best to build on? Is it going to be Ethereum? Is it going to be, are you going to use the XRPL? Um, maybe a platform like, so. I mean, there's a bunch of them where there's opportunity. Why choose the XRPL over the other options that were out there?
Well, I think there is a lot of maximalism in the space. We all know that in every community, and XRPL doesn't fall back in that. And yeah, I mean XRPL, I believe it's the best technology when it comes to tokenization and financial use cases. Uh, it's definitely one of the best. But in the end, the end user, should have nothing to do about it. I mean, they shouldn't even know about it. So it's only up to the developers and the projects, the companies building these applications, that they should care about, let's say, the technicalities and technologies. But in the end, the future is multi-chain. Yes, XRPL is great, but that's why there is also the EVM sidechain coming. We have Zahao, we have Axelar bridging all of them. So the XRPL alone is not enough. We need, for example, more advanced features like smart contracts that can bring programmability and more advanced features. And the XRPL doesn't have that. So we will need to also utilize other networks to give the best possible solutions to our users. I don't know if Peter has to add anything more.
The only thing I'd like to really add on all that, because I mean, Panos says everything very well, so you don't really need to add too much when after Panos speaks. But to go back to a little bit about what Chip was saying with for the average user, for people that are new or whatnot into the space in general. So I think the first thing that I would like to add to that is, if you go to Anodos.finance, you're going to see we have a lot of resources. There's a lot of educational resources people could read and learn. Secondly, I would say that do what I did, which is go on Twitter, go onto the spaces, and just listen to people having conversations. Don't necessarily take any firsthand approach that anybody is saying. Don't necessarily get married. Like Panos was talking about maximalism. Don't get married to any chain. Just understand what is it that you're interested in. Like, for example, for myself. So I've worked for HSBC. I was the West Coast division manager for all accounts receivable in Canada at the age of 22. I've worked at CIBC accounts receivable. I've managed collection agencies. I've done sales consulting. I've worked very much in touch with financial institutions. So for me, what made the most sense was projects that dealt and solved more financial problems, and that's why I was looking at the XRPL in general. I saw a huge potential and use case. I saw a major disconnect in the entire space. That's why I personally am very excited about Axelar and interoperability, because there's no way there's going to be just one chain or one type of tech that's going to rule them all. It's just impossible. So at the end of the day, you could have a lot of, I believe, and again, this is just my personal opinion, you can have a lot of financial understanding. You can have a lot of technology understanding. Doesn't necessarily mean you're just going to understand blockchain. So it's good to go in and just look at everything, take a grain of salt, just really check everything out. Take your time to understand what's the fundamental differences between projects. Like Panos and I were always looking at projects to see if we want to partner with somebody or if we want to invest in somebody. There's some very, very basic fundamentals just for the viewers that you might have now that are completely new. Understand the difference between inflationary and deflationary projects and why that's important. Understand who the who the team is. If they're just showing you, for example, a one word name and a little NFT as a picture, well, listen, I mean, would you buy a bridge from somebody wearing a mask who's knocking on your door? I don't think so, right? So it's the same type of thing. You need to do your own research. We say that over and over, but you need to understand what resonates with you. So for me personally, it's solving business problems. Like, for example, NFTs, smart contracts. Here in Canada, for example, we have a thing called a notary. This is who you're going to go to if you're going to buy or sell some big property, a home or a business, and they're going to be the centralized body that's going to give that seal stamp of approval that this is a legitimate transaction. Well, NFTs could do that. Smart contracts could do that. So it's understanding where things are going. Just like a lot of people, including myself, I'm not ashamed to say it, when GPS came out in Web 2 and they're saying, oh, they put up the military grade GPS and this is amazing and all that stuff. I was like, great, man. Okay. I'm okay with printing out MapQuest and using the map and just driving. So I'm okay with that. It's not a big deal. Well, ergo, what happened after? Uber Eats, Lyft, Amazon. A 7-year-old little boy could open up a cupcake business from home and have like a fleet, all because of GPS. So these are things that are completely impossible to consider before GPS, and almost impossible to have the foresight to see what's coming. So this is what's exciting about Web3 for anybody who's new here. This is really exciting stuff. This isn't a gimmick. It isn't a fad. It's very exciting. I just wanted to add that.
That's awesome, man. I love the way and it's funny because we were looking, you were talking about this. I always laugh when I see these like NFTs and some no-name people. You're going to rug the hell out of somebody. I'm like, people are like, here's the team. And I'm like, NFTs are your team? It's amazing. So this is what you were talking about, the full transparency. If you go to the about on, Anodos.finance, you can see that this is a real team with real people. And what's oddly enough, the only person we've hung out with in person is Neil Cadman. We've hung out with Neil. I was going to pull up a picture of Neil and I and Jeff on the phone here, but when we were in Australia last year, and Neil was there, and so it was really cool, and I got to know Neil a little bit, and so that's pretty cool that I didn't even know. And of course, Fabian too, which a little incident happened this week where somebody jacked his account, and he's like, "Hey, I'm working on a documentary." I'm like, "For what documentary? You guys we're a financial app?" I was like, "Okay, tell me more." And it was like, I got that. Then I reached out to Panos, and he's like. And then he sent me the post on X that somebody compromised. Has that been solved yet? Has he gotten his account back?
I mean, he contacted support. They said they need a few days to examine this, but it's a scam that is going on everywhere. And I almost fell for it last week. There was someone calling, saying they want to invite me into a podcast, do an interview with me. They send me the questions and everything, and then they sent a link. You need to download this to, that this is where we do, let's say, the podcast. And I was ready to click, and then I realized that's not happening. I mean, I'm not clicking anything. If you have any Google Meet, Zoom, online, sure, whatever, but not clicking any new links.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
There you go, right there.
Cool.
There you go.
There we are.
Amazing.
It's the team. Yeah. So it's odd that with the person we met from your team is not here, but it's like somehow I can always fly up to Montreal and say hello.
There you go.
Right. Hey, we got some questions that are coming in with the from the.
This is a good one to address because it's a big misconception.
That's a great one. Yeah. So, how does Anodos compare to the Zaman wallet?
So yeah, Zaman is a wallet, while Anodos is a, let's say, DeFi project that builds apps that integrates these wallets like Zaman. Although, as I said, we have also our own wallet solution coming with passkeys, which abstracts and simplifies the whole onboarding process. But yeah, we have multiple wallets integrated. So yeah, Zaman is a wallet, while we build apps on XRP.
Okay, great. And that was the raised follow-up. Does Anodos store your crypto? Can you use Anodos like a wallet? So that's
So once we have the passkeys, I mean, it will not be, let's say, a wallet that anyone can use or integrate. It will be specifically focused for Anodos products. So this, when you enter into Anodos apps, you'll just be able to sign up and create an account with passkeys, like you can do on Web2 platforms. So that's the thing, and that's also a misconception or confusion we see about users, because when someone is coming from Web2 and is used to, let's say, social logins, when you go to a platform, you just create a new account. It's a new account from every website or platform you put, but I mean, Web3, yes, you can use your existing wallet on many platforms. But if we want, let's say, that simplicity, then we need to go more into the Web2 ideology, where the user doesn't even need to know about, as I said, private keys, all this complicated stuff, or download a separate app for their wallet. They just go onto the platform, sign up like they would do in any Web2 platform, and that's it. In a few seconds, you are set up.
That's a big deal.
And yeah, I mean, we'll keep supporting all the native crypto wallets. But in the end of the day, yeah, if we want to target the masses and the average person, yeah, we need to abstract all this complexity.
So here's another question for both you guys, especially as we look out from a marketing perspective, as you're joining the marketplace, we have platforms like Uphold, platforms like Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken. There's a bunch of them that where you can connect in your bank, you can on ramp, you can off ramp right through there. What would you say is the standout difference with Anodos versus all these other platforms to where well, let's start with that, and then the second follow up to that would be how are you guys going to attract customers? But let's start with like what's the standout feature of Anodos versus these other
You
platforms?
want to take the first one, Panos, and I take the second one?
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, basically, Uphold, Coinbase, all these platforms are, as we know, centralized entities, and we are pro decentralization. We are big DeFi advocates, and in the end of the day, we want to empower everyone to be their own banks and have full control and custody of their assets. We will never like build custodial solutions, and okay, Uphold, Coinbase, all these platforms are, let's say, great for. Let's say the average person that wants to, let's say, sign up and buy a few crypto and start their journey, but that's not where you should actually interact. I mean, you can't interact with DeFi apps, and you just use these exchanges to buy, and then you have to send this outside of the exchange to a crypto wallet, which adds more complexity and confusion around it. So if you have like as I said, you can already on ramp in our platform directly, so you don't even need to use any exchange like that. So why not just buy with your card with an on-ramp provider we provide, and the crypto gets direct to your wallet. You don't need this middleman called.
In the U.S., who would be that? Like in the U.S., like do you have different on-ramp providers depending on where your location is in the
Yeah,
world?
basically, yeah, we have we're using like a partner with it has like all the on-ramp providers aggregated, so you always be able to see depending on the jurisdiction you are, what on-ramp providers or off-ramp are available to you, and you can compare the rates. So yeah, whatever is available in your region, you'll be able to see that and just buy directly with different methods. It can be bank transfer, card, even like PayPal. Depends on the provider. So you don't even need to use centralized exchanges anymore. You can remove we can remove now that friction, and let's say because unfortunately many people still hold their crypto on exchanges, which I think is very bad, and we have seen so many hacks and like not just hacks, but and if the like, let's say the exchange goes, the entity goes away and you lose your money. But other than that, that centralized entities can put restrictions to you. You want to withdraw, and they say, the system is under maintenance. They put all these, let's say, different limitations to you.
We never saw that
Oh,
with Coinbase.
and
And you can't move it off there like when it comes time to move it off.
Well, I've seen it on BitBuy and on Newton, and not to call them out, but they're the two ones that are widely used in Canada. And
not to call them out, but you just
I think
did.
all of them they get caught up. I remember those days with Coinbase, Uphold. All of them went through that.
Yeah.
It's
not to
amazing.
mention like all the hidden fees, and how some exchanges promote this, let's say, staking and earn programs, which basically if you do that by yourself on DeFi apps, you can earn like much more.
Mhm.
They just use your money to your crypto to, let's say, stake or take yield from DeFi apps, and they
Mhm.
take a bit cut and just give you, let's say, 4 or 5 or whatever the interest is, while you could earn the whole thing and
Yeah.
much more by
It's
doing it by
interesting.
yourself. Which it's still strange to think how many people prefer. It might be simpler, but in the end of the day, you don't have any control of your
It's
money.
too much. It's too much to consume. I think. If I'm just going to add to that
Mhm.
point, I think it's too much to consume for the average user. I mean, they have to figure out how they're going to store their keys on something. Like
Mhm.
they're going to get a ledger, maybe. There, some friend of theirs is telling them how they 10x on some NFT. Now they're looking for the
Oh.
next NFT. They're looking at meme coins. They don't know what the deal is with that.
Right.
There's all these things happening simultaneously. It's like imagine there was no internet, and then all of a sudden there's Instagram, Facebook, all this stuff. You would lose your mind. There's no way you'd be able to follow. That's what's happened in
Right.
Web3. That's what
Yeah.
my personal belief.
It's happening fast.
Yeah.
So as you start marketing and you're trying to attract the consumer,
Yeah.
how do you go about navigating that and attracting all of these new consumers to the platform?
So for us, I would say the main focal point of the marketing strategy is going to be very simple. It's going to be, you don't know how it works, and good news, you don't need to.
Yay.
Here's
I
how
like
you can
that.
do it, and this is how it works, and these are what the different functions are. So our marketing thing, more like, for example, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I have a lot of entrepreneurs in my circle. And when we sit down and we talk, and they say, well, they'll tell me, and this happens a lot. Like someone will say, okay, Peter, this is all fine and dandy, and it's just basically investing, right? I mean, what else can I do? How can this help me in my business? And I just literally had this conversation like 3 or 4 days ago with a friend of mine who has a reception hall, right, a banquet hall. And I said, okay, so let's take a couple of numbers, and this is, I think, really good to mention in general for people who have no real understanding. So you look at the average restaurant in Montreal. The average restaurant in Montreal does approximately $100,000 in business of a month gross revenue. They pay 2.5 to 3% on processing fees. Okay, that's a big chunk, especially when you consider that their maximum profit is 10% of their gross. Okay, so now we're looking at $10,000, and you're losing two and a half to 3,000. Well, you're losing 25 to 30%. That's what that 2.5 to 3% actually comes out to. But what else does an entrepreneur have to do? They got to do their payroll. They got to, send out their taxes, remit their taxes every month to the government. They have to segregate an amount for marketing, because they don't know what their marketing budget is. You take the average business owner who's small to medium sized, who doesn't have like a marketing department or advertising department, and they have absolutely no idea about what their budget is. They hear someone, some silver tongue slick person was going to walk in and say, hey, give me $1,000 and I'll manage all your Instagram posts. And okay, sure, I have that money, so here, take it, right? Instead of it being a calculated thought, which you can do on blockchain, you could segregate, for example, a portion of all your sales, let's say 5%, to go into a marketing wallet that at the end of the month has accumulated X amount of dollars or crypto. And you could say, this is my marketing budget because I've calculated it calmly in advance. I'm not falling for any upsale of some marketing, right? There's a lot of different things that could be done. And when I tell them that, then they kind of look at me like, oh, really? Yeah. I mean, you could manage your entire stock. And every time you're making a purchase, when you couple this with AI, and that's where things get really interesting, is when you really start getting into AI and how it could work for you with blockchain, man, you're talking about having a complete command center at your fingertips, much more powerful than anything to do with the internet. So that's what I use to tell people.
So let's use that's a real world example of how they could potentially take Gibby's Steakhouse, for instance, in Montreal. Great steakhouse, one of the older places over there, beautiful. It's really amazing. But if you were to approach them and say, hey, from a business perspective, here's why you'd want to incorporate it. Here's how it's going to help you from a real world. How would that impact, their steakhouse?
Okay, so this is what we've been talking about with Panos, like we've been, for our killer app, right? I mean, we've pretty much laid all this out in the conceptual phase, and we're trying to see, which way we're going to develop this. But ultimately, I would sit them down and I would just show them straight out. I would say, all those fees that you pay for processing. Well, imagine you didn't have to pay those fees anymore. Imagine you paid a small amount on a monthly subscription that that you could budget for and say it's X amount of dollars a month for all my processing. Number one. Number two, imagine not having any POS terminals that you have to have a contract with and rent out, or if they break down, bring in a technician or whatnot. Instead, you could use just an old smartphone or a tablet or whatnot, and you just download an app and you never have to worry about this. And even if that messes up on you, you have a backup tablet under the counter, pull it out, already downloaded, you're good to go with no downtime. That's another thing. Number three, it would be how to manage all your payroll and accounting integrated with a QuickBooks type system directly onto the blockchain. Number four, you don't have to wait for settlements of batches. I mean, everybody who's dealt with settlements of batches, who's been in a little bit of a tight situation, who has a money flow type of issue where Friday happens to be Good Friday, or it's Easter Monday or some holiday or some maintenance thing, and now you have to wait until Tuesday to get your deposit. Meanwhile, you're strangling. You're like, oh my God, I need to come up with some money. And you're calling people and you're saying, I'm going to get you the money. I just need 15,000 because I'm waiting for this. Okay, listen, I mean, all that would be eliminated, right? So this is my personal direct approach would be the same as it's been in sales. And I've consulted for sales and I've trained salespeople. The best sales approach is bring the best product and let the product sell itself. Just explain it simply. And that's exactly what I would do. I'd sit down and say, here's what you have now. Here are all the benefits that you have here. And at the end of the day, people, when they're tapping and paying you, what they're actually doing is they're purchasing a stable coin. They're purchasing a stable coin that's being directly deposited in your wallet that you could decide at the end of the day, okay, you know what? I made 15,000 today. I'm going to go ahead and leave half of it in stable coin because I don't know what I'm going to use it for. The other half, I'm going to sell it on the exchange and e-transfer it, because we have e-transfer here that could be directly sent to your account, and go ahead and move forward. You're in total control. You're in total control. You could set up a loan, for example, with an employee. And I've worked in restaurants, and I know this happens a lot, where an employee is going to be a little stuck for cash, and they're going to ask their boss for a little payday loan in advance. You can make a smart contract. You can make it where it takes off 1% off your pay every week. You could come up with a lot of different solutions on a lot of different levels. That's how I would sell it to Gibbies, for example, and I'm pretty sure they would go for it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, it's also too is like, what it comes down to. Jeff and I talk about. There's a lot of startups that are making up a problem that doesn't exist, and they're trying to solve for a problem. So we're like, well, wait a minute. Why don't you have like what are you actually solving for? Well, you guys are solving a real problem, especially about onboarding users. I mean, that's really that whole analogy you talked about. It's like when you talk about the product is secondary. The value is in the accomplishing the goal. Hey, your problem is you're wasting money, you're blowing it out the window, and your eyes are focused over here because you think this is the problem, and you're highlighting the problem. The problem is no, you don't have control of your finances. They're all over the place. You haven't thought about this because that's just the way it is. Well, with what you guys are building too, a lot of that's changing. And I think it's changing for people too. When you think about the DEX, I used the DEX a couple years ago. Man, it was difficult to use. Like, it was the first time my experience. But I even see Panos calling people out. Like, the first decentralized exchange was built on the XRPL, and they're like, huh? Yeah. Like, they obviously don't even know what that means. They're like, what are you talking? Like I've seen him call people out, and he's like, yeah, you don't even know you don't even understand what the value of that is, and how do you think you can go from fiat to any digital asset? You can take anything in, anything out the back, full, in 4 to 6 seconds. This is the part that sometimes gets lost on people because of the legacy approach they have to thinking about it. Right? They go back to, well, it's always been 3%. If it's Amex, it's 5%. That's how you get all those points. I love the points. I love Amex, but that's how you get it. And so solving the points. I'm wondering, Panos, could we put together? Is there anything we could demo today? Show people.
For sure, yeah, I can show like a part of V2. I mean, the swap functionality is ready. Partly what you see on Zaman on the X app, the swap. You see, it's part of it's the V2 UI, and I can show maybe some more things here.
Okay, awesome. As you're pulling that up, just a quick question from John Saxon.
John Saxon, the actor. I knew that wouldn't take long, Jeff.
That's right. It was just a couple days. Any plans to work with Hedera as you go multi?
Well, our primary focus is the XRPL ecosystem, including mainnet, the VM sidechains, the how potentially, so this basically covers all the things and functionalities and use cases we want to cover. But on Anodex, because we said Anodex will be the only, let's say, crypto native product we will build, we are planning for cross-chain swaps and for cross-chain, let's say, compatibility. So yeah, there is a big possibility that Hedera and many other chains will be supported, because on the end of the day, we want to connect the XRPL with all the other chains, which will mostly be done by Axelar as well. But yeah, we want to combine different solutions where anyone can go from and to XRPL with very easy way. So yeah, it's most probably coming at some point.
Yeah, I just want to add something there. So I think ultimately our main vision is very simple. Our main vision is you log into your wallet and you do whatever it is you want, right there. That's it.
Beautiful.
There's really nothing else to it. We're trying to bring this to reality as much as possible. I think I can very comfortably speak on Panos' behalf as well and say we'll partner up with anyone. We'll work with anyone who is legitimate and proven, as long as they have the same goal of making everything, to use the easiest term, stupid proof. I mean, this has to be where you could just
Okay.
go on. I want to be able to get into my wallet and do everything I want to do. I want to be able to stake, lend, borrow. I want to be able to make a smart contract. I want to be able to buy an NFT, sell an NFT, mint an NFT. I want to do everything in one spot. I don't want to have to jump around, do the hokey pokey everywhere. I just want to do that there. I think
Hokey
that's
pokey.
ultimately where our mentality is.
Yeah,
The smart
just to add to
contract,
that,
that's important.
I just recall that you go to other chains and you see, let's say you have like the native USDC, for example, you have used this USDCE, which is bridge USDC. There's RAP. There's like all
Confusing.
you have like many different types of tokens for just one asset, and people ask me many times, is this the correct one? I mean, what's the difference between USDC and USDC.E? I mean, it makes no sense to the user. I mean, all these things need to go away,
Yeah.
and it can be done. I mean, there are ways. We need like several improvements as an industry, and several, let's say, advancements in the technology, because some things are not there yet. Even for XRPL, for example, we can't even monetize our apps, our platform, because there is no. For example, we're waiting for the BADASS transactions amendment, which I think is big, not just for monetization, but many other use cases as well. There's the sponsored fees as well, for example. This is another big amendment that it's needed, because from our point, from Anodos' point, and the app, the killer app we want to bring, is that the user shouldn't even know about fees, bridging, trust lines, all this complicated stuff. So with sponsored fees and past transactions amendment, these two combined, basically we hide all these things, because you can a user can create their wallet, and we can fund it as a project with XRP directly. They don't even have to know about it. They don't even have to buy XRP to activate the account. We just do it for them. They never realize it, and they are ready to transact. And the trust lines, for example, they want to swap a new token. Why first add a trust line, sign a transaction, then select the token again, and try to
It's
swap?
because this is what happens. So I've been working with developers. I'm in tech, so I work with developers for years, and they're always like, "Okay, you do this, you click that, you do." I'm like, "No, we're not doing any of that stuff.
Yeah.
We have so if you can hide all that stuff behind there, yeah, that's what happens in the background. It's kind of like you go to a website, you don't think about what's happening, what its framework is. You don't care what the framework is. You just know you click on a button and it does something, right? So you don't have to understand what's going on there. And this is one of the things. This is a good question too, because this is how most people would say, like, how do we connect with Anodos? Like, what do we do? So,
Right.
it's some of the first questions. And you said,
It's super
I mean,
easy.
at the moment, I mean, you can connect like with any existing XRP wallet. You have, like, as I said, Zaman, Crossmark, Gem. There is also Wallet Connect coming, and MetaMask, which now supports XRPL. So all the main wallets you'll be able to connect directly, and you're interacting with XRP directly, because there's also another misconception here, where people connect to Anodos, to Anodex, and then they connect to, let's say, XP Market, Magnetic, any other platform, and they realize they see exactly the same numbers. They see the pools they are participating, for example, in the in both, and they are confused, and they say, is it the same? How does it work? But the thing is that the XRPL has all its features built into the layer 1 protocol, and there's only one DEX. So all the platforms you see, they are basically gateways and user interfaces, front ends of the underlying DEX. So yeah, there's unified liquidity. So wherever you connect, it's the same. So it's up to user preference in terms of UI, UX, the features the project offers. So yeah, just connect until as I said, the passkeys and the more advancements we're working on come, which will make everything much simpler. But for now, you just connect your wallet and you are ready to swap. As I said, provide liquidity and do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really easy. It took me 2 seconds while you're talking. I just clicked join, scan with the Zaman wallet, just like we're transferring NFTs, which we do on every show. Scan it. What I like about it is that as soon as I scanned it through the Zaman wallet, opened it up, said, establish the trust line, and then it opens up the browser on my phone as well. So I'm logged in to Anodos on my phone, or on my computer. So now I have it in both locations. It's a nice touch, because typically that doesn't happen, right? You just accept with the Zaman, and you're back to your Zaman wallet. Here, now I have it on two areas. I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Now I can just go right here, go to liquidity. You have the pools here. You can go to the swaps, portfolio. I mean, this is really simplified to a point where if you can show someone, now at this point in time, here's how you're going to set up your Zaman wallet. Now here's how you're going to interact with Anodos. Easy, and it's that it took 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds to get logged in. So for anyone
which is what it
that's
should
wondering,
be. It should be across the board, Jeff. Right? It should
yeah,
be. This is how simple everything should be in general on blockchain. It's just that
mm,
I feel that if you've ever seen like a 4-year-old when someone dumps like 20 different toys on the ground and says, "Here, go and play." Well, that's what's happening right now live in blockchain. And people getting
right.
in. Oh, NFTs, meme coins, this, that. They're all over the
Confusing,
place. And
Distractions.
it's too
right?
much. It's too much.
Yeah. Well, it's like AI.
Yeah.
Every single day, it's happening so fast. Chip had sent me something on I'm been looking at like AI web development.
Yeah.
So Canva just rolled out something brand new, and you can build a website in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And there's other platforms that do that, but everything's happening too fast. And if you're missing it, and a lot of people are missing it, I see people just now interacting with AI because it's everywhere. Every direction you look,
Well,
it's built into your browsers. It's on your Android phone. Now they've integrated Gemini into your phone. The
It's a digital
iOS
slave.
search
It's
is
a digital
integrated
slave,
with
man.
what's that?
It's a digital slave. You tell it
It
to
is.
figure out whatever you want for you.
well,
It's insane, but it's happening at a rate
I don't use
that
Google
I don't
anymore. I
think.
never use Google.
No, man.
Yeah, I don't think people realize exactly what's happening at this pace, and it's disrupting industries on such a pace that a year from now, where we were a year ago with AI, and so blockchain has got to get that momentum, but from
Well, with
complex
AI,
Yeah.
with AI
And
to us
now
the
that,
DeFi now, it's going to be
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Panos.
now that you mentioned AI, is something that we also want to bring on to XRPL. So imagine like you go to our platform right now, and you have this AI chatbot, and you never have to do a click anywhere. You just say to the chatbot, swap me 50 XRP, let's say, to USDC or RLUSD. So you hit enter, and all you have is to sign the transaction, and that's it. You never have to do anything else.
Boom.
Don't
That
need
right
to
there.
type any numbers, click like select the tokens. You just say to
don't even
AI.
have to type it, say it, right?
Yeah,
You could
it's a
even
great,
you'll
Just talk to your
probably be
agent.
able to even implement scalping strategies. If you have your own indicators you want to use. I mean,
yeah, or even like for providing liquidity,
yeah,
like all this, like you can say like create me, let's say, a
Mhm.
hedging strategy where I provide liquidity to, let's say, XRP USD at the time, let's say, XRP is falling, so you can like get more XRP.
yeah.
I mean,
Or
so many crazy ideas.
arbitrage could be adapted. I mean, you could. There's so many things that are going to be possible. The only thing I'm going to say that I want to add for AI, since I kind of brought it up.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that I think everyone should be still very cautious with AI. And in the sense that people are using AI like it's the Oracle of Delphi and that it's giving it 100% correct answers. I've used ChatGPT, for example. There's a lot of mistakes it does. I've called it out on mistakes, on accuracy, and then it would respond, yes, you're right. It's like, okay, well,
Right.
imagine I was using this and this was going to be the solid argument point I'm using for whatever else. Well,
Yeah.
you still have to learn, guys. We're not at the point where AI is Skynet. It's not Skynet yet. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Thank
Well,
God.
to your point, what AI is doing, it's scouring the internet, collecting data. I was looking up data and compiling a comparative analysis of different products, and I know what the answer is because I have an FDA report on one of the products. And so we did the analysis, and I look at it, and then you have to dig in. Well, where'd you get the information?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I pulled it off their website. Okay. Well, their website's lying, because the company is making up stuff that isn't relevant to, if you look at the FDA filing that they themselves submitted is contrary to what's on their website, what they promote.
Yeah.
So now AI isn't looking to the FDA, which really it should go a step further,
Right.
but it missed that part of it and went straight to their web. And then you have to put, as you dig through, it's like, oh, well, this is what they're promoting. Okay. So you really do have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Even from a coding perspective
That's
or
right.
HTML perspective, it makes mistakes on a regular basis. and spelling, content,
Yeah.
data.
I just
You,
made
you
a
have to
post.
you have to find it.
I posted about it a few days ago that whoever is relying to AI for fact checking, it's he's not gonna make it, because you see, both from, let's say, Bitcoin Max standpoint, and the, let's say, the people in XRP community who love all this, say, riddles and theories, and believe that XRP will go like to 10K overnight. And you see, I mean, I see, like, in all these comments that I or others tell them something, and they just ask Grok, and they just put you out the answer, which is wrong, obviously. With both in both cases, like in one side we have the Bitcoin maxis against XRP, and then we have like the XRP maxis or riddlers who believe overhyped nonsense and things that will not are not going to happen, or not don't make sense. And the AI just both approves their it validates, let's say, their false assumptions.
Mhm.
So you can't really rely on AI unless you really know the facts and have done your research and
Right.
understand the fundamentals.
Right.
I ask for citations too. Like sometimes I'll take a 10K report, I'll update it, and I'll say, tell me what this company's thinking about, tell me the risks, everything else. Give me citations. And then when I do my sales calls, I'll have it go through the sales calls and say, tell me the exact timestamp. I'm going to go back and check your work, because I will find errors here and there. I mean, most of the time I was on the call and I remember most of it, but there's this stuff where you got to check it, and you can get ChatGPT to lie. You can force it to lie and tell you stupid things. And this is where the garbage in, garbage out always applies. It applies in every scenario. And this is why most people can't use it, because they don't know how to prompt.
That's right.
I mean, if you don't know how to prompt, you say, write me a prompt that tells me how to do this, and then check the prompt, edit it, and then you get a better shot. But people go, AI doesn't work. I asked it to write me this, and it's like, well, you gave it nothing, and it created garbage.
Yeah. So that's a very good point. It's what you give AI. So it's not artificial brilliance.
Correct.
It's artificial intelligence. And intelligence is something that is compounding, rolling, and growing. I consider right now all the AI out there to be like the equivalent of a toddler. So it'll know, some things what to do, some things not to do, but it's going to blunder a lot of stuff. So if your question isn't this long, if it isn't this long in detail, don't expect anything of value. I personally use all AI on the same level. I use it as giving me an idea of how to reword something that I'm thinking of, that I'm just not getting it out there. Sometimes you have an idea and you're like, I want this, and then it says, well, here's a cleaned up version. And then I'm like, okay, yes, that's much better. I reread it, and then it triggers my brain to come up with the answer that I want. But it's a tool. It's a segue, is how I would put it. It's a segue for use. It's not a solution for everything.
Iteration too. It's all about iteration. You're not going to get on the first shot. You're going to enter your stuff. So it's a combination. Costa says this: started using Anodos, Zaman. So far, an easy, user-friendly platform for newbies like me. Thanks, Peter. Your best selling point is your unique sincerity and care for upgrading people's knowledge, and I think that's really important.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And that's why having these conversations, and appearing on podcasts. I mean, most of that stuff I listen to is podcasts. People talk it all the time. My wife's like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "Well, there's this awesome guest, and what podcast is that?" I'm like, "Well, it's a guy that used to do this, but now it's amazing." She's like, "Well, why do you listen?" Because you'll learn a lot of things, or you get exposed to a lot of things on podcasts. And I wanted to see if we could, Panos, if you could share your screen and just kind of like walk through something for us.
I have shared it already. I have shared the screen.
We got to bring it up.
Okay, so here is V2. I mean, the swap functionality is ready. So right now I'm using, basically, this is on Vercel. It's not deployed yet. I mean, we have if you go to dex.anodos.finance, we have this UI, but we are transferring the upgrades we did on Zaman on the X app. We did many improvements over there on the user experience and added some extra features. So we are now deploying it over, this upcoming week. They will be live on the dex.anodos.finance as well. But I can show you here what it's already deployed on the test version. So let's see. Let's connect to the wallet. So let's choose Zaman. Let me connect with Zaman.
Connecting the wallet. as we speak. For those that are listening, there's not a lull in the podcast because, you know, the first time when you hear more than 3 seconds of nothing, you go like you start grabbing stuff, talking to your phone, hitting. If I'm in my car listening, I'm like pressing buttons. I think something dropped out. So that's why Jeff and I are continuously, you know, following. Go ahead, Panos. I'll give it back to you.
So yeah, I'm connected with my wallet. You can see here your balance. You can also click here. You can see balance and tokens
Beautiful.
you're holding, pools as well. So that's not ready yet. We're now working on the liquidity and provide liquidity feature. So yeah, you can see here all your wallets, your tokens, and here we have that's what's coming on the live version next week. That is already available as well on the Zamanex app. You can already see like some of the you can search here for all the tokens that exist. Like there are thousands of tokens on XRPL, but we also have a stablecoin list. So we have all, let's say, the top valuable stablecoins on XRPL. Of course, like RLUSD is first. Then we have GateHub, Bitstamp, and there's also like Ripple Fox, which has been like a long-standing issuer on XRPL. They have like Chinese yen. There are several others, but most of them don't have like much liquidity or usage. That's why I have been fun fact, I even had like a call with a meeting with Ripple a few days ago, this here in Paris in the event. And yeah, we were discussing about how we can, let's say, bring more activity to the DEX, to stable coins. And I just said one thing directly, that we need to bring more quality assets and more let's say stable issuers. If that's not what Ripple is interested in, I mean, Ripple has a USD stablecoin now, but we need more. We need euro, we need yen, in GBP. Like all the top fiat currencies need to be brought to XRPL immediately, because not only that will increase activity and credibility, but you see a horde of new use cases. I have been talking for so long about on-chain effects. So imagine bringing the Forex market into XRPL, which is like $1 trillion market. It's one of the biggest use cases, which can work for not just, when you mention Forex, people think of trading, like Forex traders that trade currencies. But I mean, that's the last thing we should think about. It's about how we can enable a 24/7 currency market where businesses could tap into that liquidity for payments. You could create let's say stable pools with many different currencies. So for the first time, the retail small player can also benefit and provide liquidity, which basically reduces the impermanent loss, because if you provide into a two stable pool, let's say USD and Euro stablecoin pool, then basically your impermanent loss is near zero. You don't have any volatility in these stable coins, and you can get a lot of, let's say, revenue and opportunities from this kind of thing. And it enables like many business use cases that can really increase the activity on XRPL. And then the next thing that we talked about was real world assets like tokenized treasuries, how we can bring more of these big players. I mean, yeah, we have like Ondo and Open Eden, but we are still yet to see let's say a public available token on the DEX. This is the number one thing, because Open Eden is live, but it's only for institutional players. I mean, you just have to go to the website, be an institutional player, and just deposit an amount and get their tokenized treasury. But that doesn't work. I mean, we need this to be available for all, publicly on the DEX, so anyone can provide liquidity, anyone can hold these assets, and anyone can earn like yield. You can earn like 4% yield. That's the US Treasury bills are at this point, which also enables like businesses that the killer app we're talking about. This is like also how we can enable businesses to earn yield on chain without holding their assets on their bank, which earns basically nothing. Why everything on chain and securely? You don't even have to hold XRP or volatile cryptocurrencies. You just put it on stable coins and tokenize real world assets, which provide real value and stability. So yeah, this is what we talked about, and this is what I also believe will bring a lot of activity and what we need.
Panos, when you had the conversation with Ripple, I mean, I think they probably recognize that they're, with liquidity and also with the fiat currencies. Is that something they were receptive to? I have a feeling they're probably already thinking about this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I also said that to David Schwartz about, Ripple are adding liquidity to the AMM. I mean, obviously they have the resources and the money to do that. Even like a few millions, which is nothing to Ripple, I mean, could make a huge difference to the whole, let's say, ecosystem. But I think the problem here is, at least from what David said, let's say, tax implications and how, or regulatory implications as well, on how, let's say, Ripple can provide liquidity to a public market, and how that can be, let's say,
Regulation.
treated. I think that's the complication at this moment. Maybe now with RLUSD, but still, I mean, providing single-sided is not like a good thing, providing just RLUSD. But yeah, if they provide like XRP and RLUSD, at least only this pool, they provide like tons of liquidity. They can increase like they can benefit a lot. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're waiting for more regulatory clarity on how
100%.
on
that makes
DeFi
sense.
and AMMs, on how all these are treated. So yeah, I think we have to wait for now.
They don't want to go down that road again, right? And I could see, like, when we saw XRP drop, this whole thing with the tariffs, we saw the market go. This is a great opportunity to use a swap where you swap it into a stable coin. You preserve sort of the value there, right? Because that's stable. And then as it drops back, you can go buy in. You could and I think, and then using the DEX to do that is a really phenomenal sort of advantage.
Here's another one as you're developing. Can we keep
Please,
NFTs on the
Please,
platform?
Jeff, why did
on
you
Anodos?
put that up there?
Well, in the
On the list.
portfolio
Come on,
dashboard,
right?
yeah, that's what we're working on. Basically, I can show. Oh wait, I will show it in a bit, how the portfolio UI works and looks like. But yeah, I mean, we are adding NFTs as well. So when you go to the portfolio dashboard, you'll be able to see all your tokens, all your pools, and all your NFTs that you have in your wallet, in your account.
In your wallet, yeah, correct.
So yeah, that's definitely coming. Yeah.
And you'll be able to easily. I think that's the challenge. You try to find the NFTs. You got to, if they're on the XRP cafe, you're connected there. It's easy to see it, but then you have to go to your wallet. You can't having a simplified platform.
Yeah.
The go-to that you guys are putting together.
I think we
good
can work
UA,
on something, on an aggregated solution where you can simply sell this NFT and see, let's say the higher price, on whatever, either it's our XRP cafe, bids, opulence, whatever NFT marketplace. I think maybe we can work on something like that. Although we need, let's say, to partner with all these NFT marketplaces and basically aggregate all their data, which might be a little difficult, but yeah, we will look into it.
Ray Run has a question. I don't want to put it up because then it hides Peter. I don't like that. So when we earn yield, is it locked up for a period of time?
No. I mean, if you mean the AMM, when you provide liquidity, no. I mean, you can unlock anytime. There are no limitations or restrictions. You just deposit and you can instantly withdraw your liquidity anytime. And your yield, I mean, if you mean the profit you have earned, it's automatically added to your position, to your LP position. So
that's exchange mentality, right? Lock it up for 3 months, lock it up for 6 months, lock it up for a year, right? So there's another.
So yeah, no lockups, no restrictions, and yeah, your profit is integrated directly in real time. So when someone does a swap, so now if I do a swap here from XRP to RLUSD, a portion of this XRP, and basically here you can see the fee here. So 0.003 XRP from this 5 will go directly to the liquidity providers and be split depending on the percentage you own in the pool. So that happens in real time. When I click and assign the swap, then the fee goes directly to them. So you can basically withdraw any amount. If you go to basically, I can show you here the liquidity, but on V1 on swap.anodos.finance, you can already see and select withdraw either a percentage or a specific amount you want from the pool. So you are totally in control, and you can do whatever you want, whenever you want.
And where does that XRP reside?
You mean where? This
when you're
one?
doing, when you're doing when you're earning yield.
So the fee just gets directly to your, for example, in your pool. Basically, the XRPL is what holds your liquidity, the AMM, since it's native to XRPL. So it's locked by XRPL, and when you withdraw, you unlock. So basically, you have the LP tokens, which work as a proof, as a share that you have provided liquidity, and basically you exchange these LP tokens, you burn them to withdraw the two underlying tokens. So they are basically locked into XRPL itself.
So something to just add here for the new user who's just looking to jump onto any opportunity and be a liquidity provider or whatnot. I just want to say you have to understand first and foremost what order books are. You have to understand, when you're putting in a buy order or a sell order, how that works, why the AMM is an advantage. You have to understand the whole process that you're not investing in getting, like, for example, if you're bullish on XRP, you're not going to go into a liquidity pool and just say, okay, I'm going to get all this XRP. This isn't investing in XRP. You're investing in the pool itself. The pool itself is generating fees that you're taking a percentage of based on your representation of that investment. And this is what people need to understand, because it gets very exciting and very confusing at the very same time. And they go in saying, okay, I'm going to put in all this money. And then, when a permanent loss happens, they want to pull out their hair. It's you have to understand, just like anything else, what you're actually getting involved in. And it's not hard to understand. It's just, it's perhaps difficult to put it in an organized way to understand. Like, there's steps. So the first step is understand what order books are first. Read up on that. Learn that first. Then go to what is an AMM and why does it solve? What problems does it solve? Then you'll have a better understanding if it's something you want to do. And I'm a big advocate in general for understanding what you're doing. You don't jump into anything on hype. You don't jump into anything because some of your friends or family might be making money at it, but they're just not very good at explaining it to you. I personally feel I have, if I could say it without sounding cocky, I have a very good way of explaining things, because I try and keep it very simple. I use analogies, I use examples, and I simplify it to the absolute maximum. Not everybody does that. So you need to be able to do your own research. Like the entire slogan is of the entire blockchain is do your own research. Here too, guys, you have to do your own research.
But David Schwartz brought up one time, what if you're not good at research? I remember him. He posted about that. He goes, he goes, what if like research isn't your
That's
thing?
when you turn to X
and you do something. Like you're a bad researcher. You get garbage in, garbage out. And you're like, bad stuff comes back. I don't know. That was one of his. He puts a lot of funny things out there, but I thought that was one of his best. He's like, what if you're not good at research?
Yeah, the wrong space then, buddy. In the wrong space.
Well, you have to understand your risk tolerance. To your point, you can go and trade options. You can, trade future. You can do all sorts of things.
Yes.
But if you have no idea what you're doing, you're probably going to lose. I mean, it's a gamble, and it's the same thing in this space. If you don't get it, stay. Either learn it or stay away. And don't. Unless you have a big risk tolerance, and you're like, hey, I'm taking my risk.
Very good.
Jeff, what if someone comes to you and they say like, hey, I got this guy and he knows somebody and it's a special club. And if everyone that gets it, like this is like the story that it gets changed, but it's the same story. And people that have been around the space for a long time, I just saw a couple of people reached out to me that got liquidated. Something happened to them. They said like they took the money out of my Zaman wallet. Well, what did you do exactly? Well, I took my Zaman. Then what happened? Well, I gave them the seed phrase. I'm like, no, why? I mean, I try to tell people the much as possible. This whole thing with that's the thing you say, like, well, don't keep it on exchanges. And then people make mistakes. They type numbers in. They don't use the QR codes, like the little things that get them in trouble, right? Little tiny things that I saw somebody who's been in the space for a long time, close to 10 years, moved a whole batch over there, something was missing, gone forever. And I was like, you didn't even send a test, like a test 100 or something like that to make sure that copied and paste that back in there so you knew. One at a time.
Everybody. Look how many brilliant people have their hard drives locked up. Or
Stephen Thomas, former CTO.
It's happened to a lot of people.
There are certain rules. I mean, the crypto space is complicated, but again, there are certain rules. Like you just never type or give your private keys to anyone. No, never type it online. Never save it, store it online, or any device that has access to the internet. I mean, there are certain rules, but I think most people say this will never happen to me. They're just, let's say, they see taking extreme security measures as a burden. Why it's just to save yourself. There are certain rules and steps you need to take.
And that's what it is right there, Panos.
Everyone's doing it.
So we're saying it's a sign people are trying to get rich overnight, and I think that's what people anticipate. That's one of the problems that I've seen with the hype and the FOMO and the FUD and the fanboys out there that are strictly in it for the you can invest in stocks strictly for the profit, right, over time. But when you buy a stock, understand the fundamentals of the stocks that you're buying before you buy them. Otherwise, you're just taking a risk. Look at the upside, the downside, make good decisions. But I think the tendency within the crypto space, especially within the fanboy community, is that they're looking for fast, wealth and fast moves. And, if you want to day trade, go day trade in a non-volatile space. Day trade in the stock market. It's volatile enough. You come into the crypto space and you try to day trade, you try to guess the tops and the bottoms. It's so volatile. You can't even put a trailing stop on a crypto because it could drop out overnight. You won't even know it. It'll blow past your trailing stop and you're out, and then it comes back and you're gonna. So trying to, at this day and time, trying to apply traditional financial product and ideas to crypto is extremely risky, but yet that's what it is. People are chasing the fast buck. You got to think long term, and we got to think development. Development is where it's at, bringing it to the mainstream, and we're starting to see what you guys are doing from a development perspective, pulling all the pieces together. Flare got a lot of flack in the early days. I think they might have made a few missteps on how they approach the community because the community is extremely fickle. But it's all about focus on your product, focus on your development. Same thing that we saw with Ripple. They tried to step into the community a little bit and it backfired. They're 100% focused on Ripple, the development of Ripple, the direction of Ripple. And, and they're going to go way past where the XRP community is from a fast, I got to get rich overnight. Everything is shifting and changing, getting more serious. There's accountability. We're moving beyond, that, hey, let's just throw money in it and you make money and, and all the obscurities within crypto. I had a question. Now I'm trying to remember why, trying to bring it back to my question here. But here's, I guess, what do you guys see? Where do you see it going? Where we're at right now with Anodos? And if you were to broadcast this out, over the next 12 months, based on how fast things are developing, where are you guys going to be in 12 months? And where do you see the space kind of all applying in that over the next year?
Peter, you want to start?
That's a good question. No, I'm going to let you take it. But before I do, I just want to add one little point to everything that you're saying, Jeff. So I think it's important to understand that there are predatory practices in every space. And we all have cell phones, and I'm sure we all still get telemarketing phone calls. You're not going to eliminate all predatory acts. What you are going to do is you're going to just better prepare yourself. Mm-hmm. And you need to be able to be vigilant, and you need to understand what it is you're doing. If you're new in the space, I just, again, want to say for the people that are new, because I have a feeling based on the flow of this podcast, and great job, by the way, to both of you, because not only is it like well set up, but it's a good flow. Like I've been on a lot of different podcasts in my life, and it's never been this good of a flow. So good on you. And I'm assuming that there's quite a few new people also, right, that are coming in. And for the new people, I would say your first order should be to understand what kind of skin in the game you want to get. So, for example, if you start off with a couple $100, go into a project that you like, and this is once you have skin in the game, you start really learning really fast because it's your money. It's there. So you use a little bit of it, right? Something that you consider little, because little is, it's a perspective. For a millionaire, a little could be 10,000. For somebody making 100,000, a little could be 1,000. Whatever it is to you, whatever little is to you, and play with it and learn and actually use the tech, and then you'll start understanding a lot quicker. So I just wanted to add all that to Jeff's points. And Panos, I'll let you take the first. You take Anodos, I'll take the space in general.
I mean, I just want to continue a bit with that point. And I think what makes me sound that what's a big barrier to mass adoption is that when we are talking about crypto and blockchain, whatever it is, the first thing that we think about is investing or trading or like putting money into it. I think this is very sad because we are at a point where think of the internet when it came out. Imagine now talking about the internet, and the first thing is not about using the technology itself, how you can benefit from the internet and the thousands of use cases and things you can do, but going to how you can invest in internet stocks. I think it's really sad, and that's where we are now as an industry. Like
Yeah.
to think about investing and putting money into tokens, while there are so many great use cases and apps that do not even require any investment, any tokens, and this is what we're also trying to solve. It's another reason why we'll never do a token, because a token just adds extra complexity to the users. Not to mention that the you know you are launching a token. Mostly it's done in a bad way, and we're seeing like 99.9% of tokens are either useless or like at some point they just fucked up somewhere. So and you all have this, let's say, complaints community. You can have a great product, but if let's say your token doesn't align with let's say the price performance, you'll still having these complaints from the holders, and you'll be focusing on speculation and not your actual product, which is, I think, is very bad.
Yeah.
And we just want to focus on building useful apps and products, not tokens, not speculation, not investing. Just empower people to take control of their finances and utilize this technology in meaningful ways. So unless we remove that barrier completely, where when we talk about crypto and blockchain, the first thing goes to how, for example, you can protect your data, how you can like send money in seconds, how you can make a smart contract at a real estate, let's say, sale. I mean,
How you could track inventory, how you could do all kinds of different things, right? And at the end of the day, sorry, Panos, just to add to
yeah.
that, it's another reason why we went fully on chain, right? I mean, we tokenized our stock. When people are telling us all the time, why don't you have a token? I'm like, well, a token is great to enrich us. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to do a token and make, millions of dollars because everyone bought into this token. But what does the token do? What's the purpose of it? Those are the questions you have to ask. What's the purpose, right? So we said we're going to tokenize our stock, and if you like Anodos, you could invest in Anodos and everything we do, because you're a stockholder. You don't just have a token that may or may not be performing. So I just
Yeah,
wanted to add
yeah,
that.
unfortunately, yeah, most tokens do not align their holders with their
Right.
success of the project, of the product. It's just pure speculation. So in the end, you're just speculating. You see so many, let's say, successful crypto apps, but their token price is shit, so it does nothing. So what's the point? I mean, especially when you have an entity, Anodos Labs, we are, a private corporation like Ripple. We are based in US. We have our shareholders, and now, we have tokenized this private equity. So why create a token? We already have.
Exactly.
You want to invest in Anodos, just invest in the company, become an investor, buy our share, and that's it.
Uh,
One day there isn't any need for a token. And to overcomplicate, let's say, the apps, because if you create a token, you have to somehow create some utility around it. You have to use it in your apps, in your products, which again,
right.
if you want to hide all this complexity, you don't want to have a token and
Mhm.
let's say make your users buy your token to use it and access different services like most do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's overcomplicating things.
How would somebody go about? They like what they hear. They want to find out more on being able to invest into Anodos from this point. Where would you find that? Do they need to be an accredited investor in the U.S.? How does one go about doing this?
So here's the thing. I mean, yeah, I mean, the first thing is that with the accredited investor rule, which I think it's it's a shame that you can't allow, generally most jurisdictions and countries don't allow, let's say, the smaller investors to invest in startups and private companies that can have like big potential. I think this is a sad rule, but I think the way we did it is where there are some exemptions. So we have filed for the SEC where there's this so-called 506B rule where you can basically accept up to 35 non-accredited investors. And yeah, at this right moment, basically, yeah, we are raising capital, and yeah, we're trying to talk with a few, not just VCs, but yeah, we would love to have smaller and, let's say, angel investors who understand the space, because unfortunately, most VCs just don't
Don't
care
know.
about what you're doing, and they don't actually understand. And especially when you're talking about the XRP ecosystem, I think most VCs want nothing to do with the XRPL. They don't want to touch it. And we have had many big VCs tell us that we love your product, we love what you're doing, but we don't see any potential in XRPL. If you move somewhere else, that's fine. So this is another big problem that we see in the XRPL ecosystem, and most XRPL projects can't really get big investors inside, not because their product might not be good, but because these investors are not aware of the ecosystem and what's happening. They don't see the potential. So yeah, I would say it's generally hard. It's very hard as an XRPL business to raise money. But yeah, I mean, if anyone is interested and wants to invest in Anodos, I mean, there are of course some restrictions because we have to be compliant with the SEC and everything. Just DM us and we can figure something out. So yeah, just DM in private messages and yeah, we can.
In general, we're very available, so people could just DM us, no problem. Anyways.
Yeah, but you'll never DM people.
No.
So just keep that in mind. If someone shows up as Peter or Panos, they're not going to reach out to you for any reason. You're not going to get support through a DM. That please, people, do not do that. I've seen, again, this happen with people with Zalman. Someone in a thread reached, "Hey, I'm support," and it looked legit because it had the name in the guys. Got to stop doing that too.
I mean, there's only one rule: anything that asks for your private keys or to send something to them in order to solve it, it's like there are no exceptions. It's a scam. I mean,
it's so funny for me to see this, not in the sense like it's funny what's happening. It's not funny what's happening, but it's funny to see the transition. Like I would have people calling me a few years ago saying, "Hey, Google called me." I'm like, "Hey, no, they didn't. It's absolutely for sure they didn't." No, but Google really called. I'm like, "No, they didn't. They didn't call you." Amazon doesn't have a suspicious package for you. All this stuff that's going. It's the same. I don't understand how people don't see that it's just the same lie, just translated into slightly different language, but it's the same lie. Like, I don't understand this.
Well, there's a prince in Africa that needs, if I just loan him my XRP for just a few minutes, I'll get back double.
Yeah.
But he's really nice, Chip.
He's super nice.
They're really cool prince.
Has a good heart and donates a lot to charity. So it's it touches me, it gives like a little. But this is funny. It's like I get emails. If it's legit from my bank, I delete it. I don't care. Everything I need to do with my bank, I go to my bank. If it's from an exchange, it's from this. I don't care. I delete it all. Any text message I get, "Hey, how you doing?" This and that. Coinbase support. Delete. Mark as spam. Delete. Mark as spam. Don't even read it. Don't open it. Nothing. Done. If you're legitimately in my phone, and if I delete somebody, they'll figure out another way to reach out to me. They'll call me. They'll do something. But I'm like, guys, just trust none of it. This is how we get into trouble. It's like, I mean, even there were fake things going on around Celsius, and I saw somebody bring that up. Yeah, I'm like,
how are you making fees? I think Ray asked, how are you making fees?
How are you making fees?
If that means that how we make money, we don't right now. Basically, we charge 0 fees on on our Anodex and on our apps. Not because we don't want to, but there is not an easy way to do that on XRP right now. Zaman did it, and you have to sign like 2 times, which for me it's annoying. I mean, we could do it as well, but we don't want to do that in expense of the user experience. So we are waiting for the BADASS transactions. And when that's live, I mean, we'll be charging like a small fee on the swaps, but something reasonable. We're not going to charge like 1% like First Ledger does, which I think for me it's like outrageous to charge that much for every swap or trade. Nothing against them, but I think we're at an industry where DeFi improves things and not let's say does the same thing like TradeFi and like centralized entities. So we really need to reduce fees overall and make everything more efficient. So we are going to charge some fees in the near future, but it will be like at a very reasonable level.
I think this is something that goes towards Jeff's question for the space and where we see everything going. I think it's important to note here that the financial world, the banking industry, for whoever's researched it, whoever's learned about fractional reserve systems, whoever's learned about the banking cartels, as I like to call them, over the years, understands that this was not just years but generations of infrastructure built in, of systems built in. Like, I mean, really, it took a long time of a lot of bureaucrats and a lot of elitists and a lot of, one percenters to create this entire financial system. And now, for the first time, we're given a way to actually, like, I'm getting goosebumps as I say it. We're at the point in time where we can all be. It doesn't matter what your background is. Look, I'm not a tech guy personally. I'm not the one who's going to sit there and write code. I'll understand things, but I mean, I'm not going to do that, right? I'm the one I'm more of the visionary in general, is what I like to consider myself. So we have an opportunity for everyone on planet Earth to be able to contribute to a system and shape it the way we want, the way we think is fair. That I shouldn't be in charge of, Chip's bank account because I'm the senior exec in ABC Bank, and I could tell Chip, no, you know what, we're restricting you on your purchases because we think it's a restrict. No, it's up to Chip to decide what he wants to do. Or if Jeff wants to make a purchase, he's buying a new car, or if Panos is going on a vacation, and it's the first time he's using this card and he wants to go on vacation, he's stuck there and he can't buy it because it's blocking him. Now he's on the phone trying to unblock, like all these different systems. Sure, some of them have, merit, right? Like ACH reversals. Like a lot of people to this day don't know that even if you do a purchase with your debit card and you didn't get, services weren't rendered, you can call your bank and say, I want to, initiate an ACH reversal and get my money back, because they're enabling the system to have the flaws of you being ripped off. So this goes up to 6 months. A lot of people don't know this. Yeah. I've done it myself, right? They're like, well, you paid with your debit card. And I don't care. I said, I don't care. I paid with my debit card. Do you have the systems to protect me? No. So this is how it works. Give me back my money. Oh, it's going to take 6 months. I don't care if it takes 6 years. Why should that scammer have it, right? Get it back.
Exactly.
So, well, that's what it is. At the end of the day, we could all contribute to this.
Well, listen, I would say this. We asked you guys to come on for an hour, and thank you for staying on with us a little bit longer, because I thought the conversation needed to go a little bit longer. So you guys, we didn't bring it up. We usually like, hey, we want to be cognizant of time, but we had such a good flow, as you say, Peter. We were just rolling with it. So we like, hey, let's make sure we suss this out. Let's make sure we get all of this in there. And it doesn't seem like it. We've been live for almost an hour and 40 minutes here.
Wow.
So thank you for coming on. Again, we'll probably have to do another catch up too, as you guys do some more releases, but really enjoyed the conversation. I thought it was really great. And, two sides of the coin there, Panos with bringing us the deep tech and the overall, and then Peter kind of like, simplifying it and making it a little bit more easy to digest, which I like, little simple things. I'm always like, I'll tell ChatGPT, tell us to me like I'm a sixth grader. I'll take a white paper and throw it in there. Give me some of the bullet points. And still, I don't even trust it. But it's been a great conversation. Jeff, I'll throw it to you, and then let's get some last words from Peter and Panos here.
He's asking if you're going to be on the next show too.
Yeah, it's going to be it'll be on the next show, and the next show will be on all week. We have our guests for the week. They'll be in session. That's a good way to get the hoodie, man.
We can get on another one pretty soon. Maybe show some more things on the Anodos V2.
Yep.
Like
player communities in here.
Let it be like more technical, like show and how every piece of our platform works. I think it would be great to do, let's say, like a walkthrough through our how the MM or DEX works, how people can use it. I think that would be great.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. We'll do that.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Next show will be 4 hours, so make sure you get your bio break before you.
I'll make a bigger
extra coffee. Exactly. I ran out of coffee like halfway through. I'm like, oh my god, what am I going to do?
I got the big old.
I've been nursing it. I just have a little.
That's got to be ice cold right there, Peter.
Through it.
You got it on a little warmer, or is that ice cold?
No, it's ice cold. But I like cold coffee, so I
did too. I just don't like it when I'm expected hot and get cold. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
If I know it's cold, then I'm excited.
Be hot. If it's cold, be cold. I got you.
All right, Peter. What kind of coffee do you prefer? Espresso?
I actually prefer a coffee. I prefer cold coffees in general. When I went to Greece in 2016, they have a thing called Freddo Espresso or Espresso Freddo, which is basically iced coffee, iced espresso, and I love it.
What brand?
I like House Brand, which is only available in Europe, from what I understand.
By the way, that's the wrong answer. The right answer is Badass Yetis Coffee. In case you're wondering. And is it any good?
Is there any here?
Nah, it's effing great.
Really?
we can assemble. This is roast to order. It's very rare that you've ever had fresh roasted beans. The ones you get in the store are 6 months old. So this brand that Jeff and I crafted, this one is roasted to order. Sorry, I was just playing a little bit there, but I had to get that.
That's fine. But seriously, like, is it available in Canada, or do I have to order from the States?
It is available in Canada. Yeah, it's available in Canada.
Yeah.
So
I just wrote it down. I'm gonna try it because I'm a big espresso connoisseur, and I always like trying new espressos.
I would get this one.
Get the dark roast.
To get the dark roast, the Obsidian Bold. This is the one right here.
Okay.
It's a dark Italian roast.
Yeah.
And that one's
you need it right out of the bag.
Yeah, man, the beans. That's when I get a fresh bag. I just eat the beans. They're so good because they're not dried out. You get the oils are still on there.
I'm sold. It's over. I'm gonna try it.
It's good. It's good shit, as they say. And is it any good? No, it's effing great, man. Why? Because we said so. No, because Jeff and I were so tired. We're like coffee snobs, so we're like, no, man, we got to have fresh roasted. But
listen, I'm the same way. I'm 100% the same way. But I'm the same way with wine, right? So. All these wine, brandy, scotch, but at the end of the day, I could still drink wine out of a box. I could do that. I could still drink instant coffee. I could still do that. If I really need,
you have to.
I'll have it. You know, so
right there. That says it all right there.
With red wine, I love drinking red wine, having espresso at the end of dinner. Yeah, and you have the two together. It's kind of like Jameson and Guinness. They go together.
Yes.
Red wine and espresso.
Try that with dark chocolate and have a cigar.
I do have some Circa.
Oh, there we go.
Whiskey from I do have a couple Canadian whiskeys that I purchased up there, but Circa's a pretty good one. I thought Circa's decent. Yeah, it's a nice one.
I like brandy more though. I'm more of a VSOP Saint Remy brandy. I really like it.
I bought one. It was a whiskey, but it had a little maple syrup in it. Just a nice little nip of maple syrup.
I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't think so.
It's not sweet though. It's just the taste got a little maple. You have to do it, man. It's like Canada.
A little smoky maybe.
Yeah, it's not so smoky. It's just got that little sort of maple kind of underline. You know, it's kind of
like
nice.
An aftertaste.
Well, it's more like an after dinner thing. It's not something you would just sip and drink. But if you're making it makes a nice old fashioned too. I will say that. So sometimes you want like a maple, sort of an old fashioned. But
I'll try
anyway. So the next show we'll schedule 3 hours. We're almost into the second hour here. We're rolling down the pike. But I'll give you guys the last word. Peter, anything you want to say in closing about Anodos or what people should be thinking about or big takeaways, and then we'll go to Panos.
I just think that they should have definitely their eye on Anodos. We're going to be coming out with some exciting stuff, and that we're always looking to simplify. So whoever's interested in learning, just follow us in general.
Beautiful. And then, by the way, in the comments right down there, so you can go follow Peter. I recommend following Peter and Panos and also Anodos on X, and also the website's there too. If people were asking about the website, it's right down there in the comments. So Panos.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll just add that, I think we're maybe one of the very few projects that, listen to the community's feedback, to our users' feedback. And unfortunately, many developers, many projects do not care about the feedback they get. We're always open for feedback, bad or good. So, we are here to improve and, build for the community, because in the end of the day, it's the users that and the community that will use our products. So, if we don't listen to them, then, what's the point? And unfortunately, many projects or founders, whatever, they have their own idea, and they let's say they want to build out of ego. They want to stick to their plan without caring about anything else, and I think that's very sad for the ecosystem. So yeah, we're always open for feedback. You can DM us. You can join our Discord. Ask us for new features. Is the whole reason why we are building V2. And we're revamping our whole new UI and UX is because we listen to that feedback and want to improve further the interaction with XRPL. So yeah, follow us. We have lots of exciting stuff coming. And one last thing I want to say about the XRPL as a whole is that, for the first time we are seeing so many great developments. Not just on the mainnet, but we have like multiple developments from let's say all the sister chains. We have EVM sidechains, Ahau, Flare, everything that is connected to XRPL. We have so many exciting things going on. So yeah, we just must work all together and let's bring that mass adoption.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. We're an hour 43 into this as we have a timer in the top window, but thank you so much for staying a little bit longer, and we'll get you guys back on here in a little bit, but stay afterwards because I do have one bit of feedback from you. I'll take it offline, but I have feedback too, but it's not that. It's nothing. You probably laugh at it, but anyway, that's all the time we have. So Jeff, Chip, Peter, and Panos, we are out of here, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow night. See you on the next one. Guys, stick around. That is the wrong one.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.